So here we have the new stone skin look. And we aim for a bright crystalline kind of feel, something that would glow and light up, and something that you just couldn't possibly miss. So it's got a much easier read, and now that we've seen it like this and we like it, we're thinking it's probably going to need a new name, which we haven't thought of yet. So under the Barbarian, done a lot of upgrades to Whirlwind along the way. That's a good screensaver. So we showed you Whirlwind originally at WWI in Paris when we announced, and this is what it looked like. And we thought we were pretty happy with it at that time. We thought, you know, okay, that looks like a Whirlwind. It's cool, you know. But then what happened along the way this year was we started working on a new monster called the Dune Dervish, which is a desert monster, and he also has a different kind of whirlwind attack, but a whirlwind attack nonetheless. And it looks like this. And the problem that we had with this was when we unleashed this onto the team, the comment that was made was, how come the Dune Dervish whirlwind is better than the Barbarian? And this kind of thing happens a lot, where one thing comes into the game and kind of one-ups the thing that we just made. So we were like, the effects artists were, you know, a little hurt by that, and we went back to the drawing board and we decided, well, all right, it's a fair comment. Let's do something about this. And so here's the new version of Whirlwind. It's a lot thicker. There's a lot more going on. We've added actually more copies of the Barbarian in there. Lots of different flying weapons, and a whole lot of more dust. So now that may not be impressive enough. So I prepared a little demonstration to prove just how much more powerful the new Whirlwind actually is. So yes, you can decimate farm animals with it.
All right, so there's your cow level. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other system design we've done on some of the other heroes. And the first thing is Fury, which is the resource system that we use for the Barbarian. Resource system is what we refer to pretty much anything like mana or Fury that fuels and changes up the gameplay for different classes. And one of our goals on Diablo 3 is to try to do a unique system for each class. And we may not accomplish that. We may default back to mana for some. But definitely at least one class will use mana, but hopefully all the others use something different. So we showed Fury last year, but we weren't quite happy with it. So the idea was, with the Barbarian, we really wanted him to feel like he was building up, like he was getting angry and going berserk. You know, I'm a big fan of the Hulk, so I wanted him to Hulk out. So the first thing we tried was very similar to Rage in World of Warcraft on the Warrior, where any kind of damage he did would just build up this resource that he'd use to spend on his skills. And the problem was we didn't initially like this because it felt like we were always waiting around. Like we wanted to spam our skills. We wanted to, you know, throw out leap attacks and seismic slams like crazy. We didn't want to kind of have to hit a dude 10 times to finally be able to do something cool. So we tried something different, which was more of a damage increasing system, and the concept here kind of shows that idea when we really kind of filled it out, that the more Fury you had, the more damage you did, but it didn't actually affect your skills at all. And it was all right. It was kind of, it's always cool to do more damage, but it didn't change the way the Barbarian played in any way. And that's really important. That the whole point of these systems is to make the classes play a little differently so that they're interesting. So when you re-roll a different class, it's not the exact same mechanics. So what we finally decided to do was go back to the idea of a resource system, but tune it for Diablo. We'd really been taking the wrong approach. We'd probably been tuning it more like World of Warcraft, and you know, our pace of gameplay is just way faster. So what we did was we had this idea of endless fury. And so this video hopefully will start up in a moment. And maybe not. So if this video was going, which would be totally awesome, it's filled with crazy explosions, the greatest video ever made, really, I promise you. You'd be seeing like the barbarian can essentially just recycle his fury so fast that while he's hitting dudes with leap attacks or seismic slams and stuff like that, if he hits a lot of targets, he generates a lot of fury, and he can just instantly do another skill again. But if he wastes like a really big AoE skill on one dude, then he wastes a lot of his fury, and then he has to kind of start over a little bit. It's a really fast-paced system. It doesn't kind of get in the way of his fun and hold him back, but it does make him think about what he's going to hit and what skill he's going to use on what type of monsters. And that makes it a lot more fun to play him. So the next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is runes. We showed runes last year, and for those of you who maybe didn't see or read an article about it, the idea for runes was that they're these items you find in the world, you socket them in your skills and change what your skill does. So you could say take something like lightning and turn it into chain lightning, or set it up so that when you kill guys with it, they explode in giant lightning, crazy light show. That's awesome. So if any of you've played the demo, you've probably noticed there's no runes in it. So the question is, where are they? So what we wanted to say was, we wanted to talk about them a little bit, tell you runes aren't going anywhere. They're a really important system to us. One of our main goals for Diablo 3 is an extremely high level of customization for your characters, and runes are one of our core systems that we decided to make because we really wanted to support that goal. So they aren't going anywhere, but I'm going to explain to you why they're not in our build. So this is our skill and rune creation process. I'm going to fly through it because it's, boring production stuff. So we have a skill idea, could come from anywhere. We design the skill, usually write some kind of, awesome design doc filled with crazy words. We storyboard it. We don't do this for every skill, but signature skills, we'll create some imagery that supports it and says this is what the skill's supposed to look like. Then we program it. Then design tests the kind of early programmed version, which doesn't have final art, decides, is this cool? We do a lot of tuning and testing and changes and things like that. Then we add effects. Then we design runes, once we've actually gotten the skill through this whole process. After we design the runes, we program them, then we do the effects for them. If any of these kind of first 6 items on here change at all, and those of you who know Blizzard games know we like to change stuff all the time, then all of our rune work is gone. So when we're developing skills, what we try to do is save all the rune work for last. We've blocked off a ginormous amount of time for it, so we're definitely going to be doing them. And there's actually a lot of runes in the game right now, but they're so hit or miss within the characters, it's kind of disorienting. Why does this skill have a rune and this one doesn't? So we just decided to disable them as a whole until people could play the system in its entirety. So now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the monsters that we developed in the last year and for our Blizzcon demo. This is just kind of a nice, cool little montage that shows off some of the different creatures that you'll encounter if you go and play what we're showing today.